you could create a t-shirt and give them to all of our listeners that would communicate your mission, you have one line, what would it say?
We all matter. You know what? That's probably politically incorrect, but a soul is a soul is a soul. How's that?
There you go. Perfect. Question 4. A lot of people don't know this about you, and we didn't cover it because we've only been talking for 6 hours. You worked with Presidents Reagan, George Herbert Walker Bush, and Bill Clinton. Of the 3, who would have made the best professional football player?
Oh gosh, probably Reagan when he was obviously younger. He was an interesting guy. He was a tough guy. He would have been a great form tackler. W was a decent athlete. HW was a baseball player, as you know.
Right.
Clinton. So we had on May 25th, 1993, and this is actually in Sports Illustrated if you look it up. I helped host with the president because I was working in the White House Office of National Service, and we were launching AmeriCorps. And that's another great story I would love to share with you because President Dole was really the one, and he just passed away. But we had Dan Marino, Joe Theismann, Thomas Hearns, Dave Winfield. We even had Sinbad. We had all these people in the Oval Office that were doing things in their communities. So I'm standing next to the president, and hold on. Well, it's right there. If you can see that up there, I'm not sure if you can see it, but that's
another
me.
Nick Lowry picture of proof.
So that's me leaning against the president's Oval Office desk, and he's got pink skin. He's lost 20 pounds. I said, Mr. President, you look great. What's your secret? What have you been doing? He goes, and this is May 25th, so it's warming up in Washington. He goes, Nick, I've been running sprints on the South Lawn, and I said, Mr. President, I guarantee you were the first and most likely last president to be running sprints on a regular basis on the South Lawn. So I'm not sure that he was the kind of athlete that would have been a great football player. He might have, but I'd go with Reagan probably.
Reagan. All right. Question 5. We got to open up to us on this one. What's the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you on the field?
Absolutely. So they have these blowers, heaters on the sidelines that are, again, they don't have them high, which is weird to me. I mean, hell, make them higher so they hit the guys, in their mid region rather than not their feet. But right before, near the kicking net, right around the 30-yard line, there's a blower, right? So, but when it was really cold, I would crouch down in front of the blower to get some heat in my legs because it could be really, really cold. In fact, December 8th, I think it was, we played, the anniversary, it was 31 wind chill below zero. We intercepted John Elway 4 times. Late in the season, it could get really, really cold, right? So now we're playing San Diego, and it's cold, and I'm crouching down in front of the blowers, and Brian Barker, our punter, in my holder goes, Nick, you burned a hole in your crotch. And I kicked 2 field goals. We're driving for the game-winning field goal. And I later found out it was the 300th field goal of my career. And I've got this big hole in my crotch right where right there. And I'm wearing stuff under it, but still it would have been kind of embarrassing. So Mike Davidson, the greatest equipment manager ever, I called attention to him. He cut little holes on either side of it and then got lace and just laced it up. Literally now we're past the 50. And literally 2 minutes later, I line up, went out and kick a 36-yard field goal right hash, right down the pipe. And then kick the ball out of the end zone, and we beat the Chargers. So, but that was pretty embarrassing.
That's a great one, and kudos to your equipment manager.
Yeah,
he got some quick thinking. All right, question 6, and we ask this of everybody who comes on the show. Since we are the approach shot, Nick Lowry, in your approach to life, what one rule do you live by?
Align your values so clearly that you find something to serve bigger than you that gives you a sense of lasting, impenetrable joy and satisfaction. Do the things that really matter to you so you have no regrets.
Wow, I don't feel like Nick felt this was the hot seat at all. For him, it sounded like
you gave him these questions in advance.
Yeah.
Did you?
You are off the hot seat.
He's been practicing this.
Yeah. I get the feeling that was not a challenge for him.
I was told that Beyonce was watching this show and thought, maybe she's having second thoughts. It's been a while. Maybe we can kind of try again.
She's just thinking that could have been.
To the left, to the left, to the right, to the right.
Did you have one story you wanted to tell us? You just said something I also want to tell you guys.
Oh gosh, there's so many stories. Well, if I was talking about the White House, that was pretty amazing. I gave a tour of the White House to Dan Marino, Sinbad, and Dave Winfield. That was pretty cool. So another quick story. I was giving my family a tour because HW freaked out the Secret Service because he was so informal. And this is, of course, before 9/11, so the rules were different back then. But he was so laid back. So at 6 o'clock, I could start giving tours. So my 5-year-old nephew, Justin, was with us, and we're at the Oval Office. And there's a stanchion, and there's a Secret Service guy standing next to it. And Justin crawls under it and then crawls under the president's desk. And I looked up at the security guy and said, will you please not shoot my nephew? And another one is in 89, Greg Petersmeyer was being approved by the Senate to run the Office of National Service, which President H.W. Bush had created as a testimony to service. And so I had his office the first month. So I could look at room 100 of the old executive office building, which is that big gray building to the right where 3/4 of the staff work. And I could look over, and there was a line of cypress trees just to the west of the West Wing. But you could see a space where there was a swimming pool, and Mrs. Bush was swimming in that heated pool. And then you could see at about 5 o'clock, the president, who's left-handed, you could make, because he'd put together a horseshoe pit, and he'd go, it was sort of like his aerobics. He'd go back and forth on the horseshoe pit, tossing with his left hand. I could see him from the waist down. So that's just a fun little memory.
And something we can't unsee. The idea of Barbara Bush in a pool, I can't unsee that now.
I did not see that part. I just saw her arms like that. So speaking of Barbara Bush, so in 1989, we had in mid-April National Volunteer Week. And so I had Bobby Hebert, former quarterback.
Yeah.
From, he had the French accent from New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And Mike Tomczak, who at that point was the quarterback for the Bears. So I'm giving them a tour. And we had a photo op with the First Lady, and there's a white marble bust of Harry Truman between us and behind us. And she's standing there, and we're laughing because, as you can see in the photo, she's got a perfect kiss lip, lipstick kiss on her cheek. But she had such a great sense of humor that she could laugh at herself. Now, the story I was going to tell you about was with AmeriCorps. Senator Dole, I'd worked for Elizabeth Dole in the off season, and I didn't care about party. I still don't. I think parties are all based on money right now and not about solving problems. And Dole was from Kansas, so I'd gotten to know him and had tremendous sense of humor, very humble. He's very approachable. And we had to get AmeriCorps passed. At that point, Dole had shut down what's called the Budget Reconciliation Bill, which is the president's first effort to say, here's what I want to do, here's what I want to spend. And Dole, being the Republican leader, shut it down like, wait a minute, you haven't talked to me. Why don't you meet with me first so we work and have a relationship together? And so now I go to the Hill with Eli Siegel, who's the head of the Office of National Service, and Rick Allen, who is our chief of staff. And I simply said to Senator Dole, listen, service is something the Democrat and Republican both understand is crucial to this country, is at the core of our fiber. And you don't have to vote for it, but please just don't oppose it. And he didn't. And so AmeriCorps became the first major or significant legislation of the Clinton era. And to that left, as I point back there, that letter right there is a kind of cool story, because then there's the signing of the bill. Okay. So the bill was to be signed on September 21st, 1993. Well, we're playing the Buffalo Bills the night before, Monday night. And so I can't get there in time for the signing. Well, I happened to kick 4 field goals, and we beat the bejesus out of Buffalo and Marv Levy, who used to be my coach, ironically. Right. So I get a letter a few days later, handwritten, that's it, from the President of the United States. And it said, congratulations on a great game, underline great, Monday night. All of your National Service pals are proud. Thanks for the time you gave to the National Service effort. I thought of you yesterday when I signed the bill. The kids of this country will be better for it, and so will the rest of us.
Very cool. Very cool.
Wow. That's the way to wrap up a show. How do you beat that?
You don't.
You don't.
No.
My God, it was a pleasure to have you, Nick.
Thank you, Bill.
We've had a lot of notable people on the show, but I have to tell you, I think that this is probably one of my absolute favorite
Thank you.
interviews because you bring so much to the table. Your humor, your decency, the fact that you do a great job in communicating things that we all sort of feel, but maybe don't know what to do about it. So this has been an absolute joy.
I enjoyed it a lot too. So, the word namaste, right? I see the light in you, right? And I really believe that too. Speaking of post-football and post-career, is realizing when I see something good in somebody else, it's because it's in me. And when I see something bad in somebody else, I've got some work to do here too. So thank you for saying the good things, and really enjoyed it. Thank you.
There's fantastic. And just one more time, what's the website for people to go and check out?
It's nicklowry.org or nicklowry.com, NICKLOWERY. There's an E there, ERY.com.
Right.
And you'll see all sorts of videos. It's a 501c3. Our most important program, as you very kindly brought up, is Champions for the Homeless, which we'll be doing on Christmas Day.
Right.
And anything you can do to support the work we do or do it in your own community is a blessing.
So a friend of mine once said when we were ringing the bell one Christmas season, he said, don't give until it hurts, just give until it feels good.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nick. Hopefully we'll be able to talk again right here on the Approach Show.
Sounds good. I love it.
If you're like me, you've been hearing a lot about burials and cremation lately. It's kind of a sad thought, but thousands of these poor souls have to be stored in these big refrigerator trucks, waiting sometimes weeks before they can be put to rest. And then the average funeral cost is over $10,000. I don't have that kind of money just lying around. Do you? Everyone has the right to die with dignity, and an affordable burial policy can be had for as little as $1 a day. Call Final Expense Network for a free quote. They shop for affordable rates from brand name companies, folks you've heard of. One call and you get coverage to finish well. You can even name your church as a beneficiary. Come on, you have loved ones. Don't leave them at the last hour of their need. Call now, 800-589-0470. That's the Final Expense Network at 800-589-0470. Finish well. Make a quick call to 800-589-0470. 800-589-0470.
Thanks for hanging with us. We are the Approach Shot. John Ashton just waved goodbye and said, see you next week. He's putting some Bengay on those sore muscles, which lead me to believe that he actually did do some heavy lifting, which I would have bet against. Bye, John. Yeah, he just waved back at me, and it wasn't with all 5 fingers, if you know what I'm saying. Nick Lowry blew me away. Didn't he have that effect on you? This is a guy who is an NFL Hall of Famer. After he finished playing, he could easily have just rested on his laurels, but rather than do that, that's just not the kind of guy he is, obviously, having worked for 3 presidents and being a philanthropist the way he is. But you should really go on YouTube and watch what happened over Thanksgiving and Christmas, where he and his organization fed thousands and thousands of people in the Phoenix area. And this is part of what he is all about. The whole idea that he is campaigning to give a voice to the homeless makes such sense. I don't know if you've ever had the instance to do this. I don't judge one way or the other, but I've been in a position where I've been walking down a street here in San Diego, and there are some homeless people there, and I will tell you, I'm ashamed to tell you this, but I have turned away at some point. I have done the no thank you and not looked at them kind of thing, and that's exactly what Nick is working against. And since I have heard his story, I've changed that. I will look a homeless person in the face, and even if I don't give them money, I will say, have a great day, God bless, something to make them recognize that I recognize them as a human being, and it feels entirely different. And I'm not preaching, I'm not getting on a soapbox here, I'm just telling you my personal experience. And thank you, Nick, for putting that kind of thing in my